Hi Kavita, how are you?
Fine, sir. What about you?
Yeah, I'm good too. Thank you. So can you tell us something about yourself?
Yes, sir. I'm Kavita. I do have 4+ years experience in IT industry as a software test engineer in manual and automation testing. Automation exactly into Selenium. Apart from that, I have good understanding in programming language Java.
Hmm.
And I'm also strong knowledge in testing web applications using Selenium Java.
Mhm.
And we are working on agile environment, and it calls for constant communication between developing team and the product owner.
Mhm.
And I'm using Jira for bug reporting. So
Okay.
that's all my answer.
Okay. Great. And you are doing automation as well.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So can you tell us something about the automation framework?
Yes, sir. We are using BDD framework in our current organization.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So can you explain in detail about the BDD framework that you are using?
Yes, sir. Little bit
Mhm.
confusing there, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So can you explain about the BDD framework? Hello, Kavita?
Hello, sir. Ah,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah. Can you explain us about the BDD framework that you are using?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I'm little bit nervous, sir. Okay.
Sorry.
Sorry, sir. Can you move to the next one, sir?
Okay. Okay. No issues. See, so when anyone asks you about what is BDD framework, right? So you
Yes,
should
sir.
be able to explain because see, how was the series of questions going on? You told us about the automation framework that you are following, right? And then
Yes, sir.
you told us about the BDD framework, right? So
Yes, sir.
So you have to explain what is BDD framework. So BDD is nothing but it is behavioral driven development framework, right? It enables software testers to complete or to develop the scripts in plain English language, right? Now, why do we use BDD framework? Because let's say if any technical persons, any technical jargons like us are there who knows Java, C Sharp, programming languages. So they would be able to write like what is public static void main, and they would be able to develop the scripts using programming language. But what about the people who are non-technical, like business analysts or project managers, or sometimes
Yes, sir.
subject matter experts who are non-technical people who don't know how to write the code, who even don't know how what is the meaning of public static void main kind of thing, right? So
Yes, sir.
for them it is BDD. That is why the organizations are moving towards developing the BDD framework. Okay, it
Okay,
focuses
sir.
on the behavior of the product and user acceptance criteria, right? And Cucumber is one of the best tools to develop the BDD framework, and which is the language that is used. So that is Jenkins, you can say. Okay, then there are several files you can explain about them. One is test runner, one is step definition, right? So
Okay.
this is how you can explain the BDD framework.
Okay,
Okay.
sir.
So in your real-time interview, you will definitely get a question on BDD framework because in your CV, you have mentioned that you have got good exposure on Cucumber, page object model, automation frameworks, right? So
Yes, sir.
definitely
Yes.
be prepared for this particular question, okay, in a
Okay,
real-time
sir.
interview. For now, it is
Yeah.
fine, okay? But now,
Okay,
have
sir.
you understood BDD framework or should I
Yes,
explain?
sir. Yeah. Yeah, yes, sir.
So this is how you have to explain. The more you will explain, the more interviewer will be happy about the knowledge on the skill sets that you have.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Now, what is method overloading and what is method overriding, and where you have used this in your framework?
Yes, sir. Method overloading means we can, sorry, sir, I can't recognize my.
Okay. So method overloading, you are not able to recall. No issues. You can tell about the method overriding. So what is the difference between method overloading and method overriding? Simple difference you can tell.
Sorry, sir.
Okay, no issues. So method overloading is a compile time polymorphism. Okay, while method overriding is a runtime polymorphism. Okay. Now method overloading may or may not be dependent on inheritance. It might not require, whereas method overriding will always need inheritance. Okay. In method overloading, the methods have the same name, but the signatures are different. While in method overriding, the names as well as signature both are same. Okay. So this is how you can explain method overloading and method overriding. Okay. Then
Yes, sir.
private and final. So once you will explain this difference, no, then interviewer might ask you the question is, next question is private and final methods can be overloaded, right? Then private and final methods cannot be overridden. So this is a very thin line of difference. Okay.
Okay.
So this is method overloading and method overriding. Okay. So this is fine. Okay. So you have actively attended sprint planning, stand-up and retrospective meetings. So what is the
Yeah.
difference between stand-up and retrospective meeting?
Stand-up meeting is conducted daily by Scrum Master.
Mhm.
What we are done yesterday and what we do today and what will be to do tomorrow.
Mhm.
Sprint retrospective meetings are done after the completion of the every sprint. All the teams should involve in that meeting, sprint retrospective, and discuss what the build is, the developed sprint is completely stable or not, or what went wrong, what went good, and the improvement areas we will discuss in a sprint retrospective meeting.
Right, right. So that will be discussed in the retrospective meeting. Now, can you tell me any good point or any valid point that you have put up in a retrospective meeting, which was implemented based on the impact that they had in the sprint?
No, sir, any not.
Mhm. So whenever you get this question, like in the retrospective meeting, you gave some suggestion or you gave some points. So you can tell earlier code review. For example, I'm telling earlier code review was not happening, or the code coverage was less than 45%. So many bugs you are getting. So you are not getting confidence about the quality of the product, even if you are getting sufficient time about the testing. So you suggested to have 70% of code coverage before the story is delivered to you, right? Unit testing should be done before the story is delivered to the quality assurance team, QA team, right? So accordingly, they can then increase the quality of the product. So this is how you can tell. So this was just an example. On the similar lines, you can explain.
Okay.
Okay. Now, what is Jenkins?
Jenkins is a pipeline in which we add all the Maven, all the projects into that, and we will do that.
Yeah. So Jenkins is a pipeline. Then apart from that,
We will integrate all that Maven projects into that Jenkins. Through that Jenkins, developers will get the code from that Jenkins, and it is a complete cycle, sir. It one.
So it's a pipeline, right? Jenkins is a
Yes.
pipeline which will consist of various stages. So again, stages depends on individual to individual projects or organizations. In some Jenkins CI/CD pipeline, they have got 6 stages. First stage might be, to create the machine on the fly, right? Second stage might be to download all the code, the development code, and to build it into that particular VM which has been created on the fly. Third stage would be to download all the automation code that you would have developed, right? The framework. Fourth would be to install, if it's a desktop based or if it's a Windows based, so to install that particular application on that machine. And you will start running the automation on that particular instance, on that particular build instance. Then fifth stage would be to generate the reports and to email all the stakeholders, the entire team about those reports. And the sixth stage would be that you will be you will be logging the defect, whichever the test failures have happened. So those would be directly logged as a defect in Jira, kind of those. Okay. So this is how you can explain Jenkins CI/CD. Now, what is the difference between post and get request?
Sir, post and
Get request. API.
I didn't recall, sir.
Okay, no issues. Sorry. So when someone asks you what is the difference between GET and POST request, so you can tell GET retrieves a representation of the specified resource. So GET means it will help you to retrieve the objects, while POST is for writing the data. Okay, POST will be used for writing the data. Okay, so this is fine. Okay, now what is the difference between throw and throws?
I didn't. Sorry, sir.
Okay, fine. So I'll explain that, the difference between throw and throws. Okay. Now, basically, let us first of all start with the definition itself. So throw, when we say throw, right? So it is an exception that is explicitly in the code, which you can say inside the function or the block of code, right? While throws is used to declare an exception which might be thrown by the function while the execution of the code, right? So this is how the basic difference is there, right? And then throw is followed by an instance of exception, right? While throws is actually a keyword which is followed by the class names of the exception. Okay. Now, if you see the internal implementation of throw and throws, right? So what we can do is throw. Like we are allowed to throw only one exception at a time, right? We cannot throw multiple exceptions, right? But if you are declaring the exceptions using throws keyword, then you can declare multiple exceptions at one particular time. Okay. Then some kind of exceptions like IO exception, SQL exception. So these are thrown by the main function. So this is the basic difference between throw and throws. Okay. Now what are the different types of wait that you are using in Selenium?
Wait, sir. Implicit wait, explicit wait, fluent wait. Yes.
So what is the difference between implicit wait and explicit wait?
Implicit wait, the main difference between implicit wait and explicit wait is implicit wait can wait for that apply for that only particular. Explicit wait is applicable for only one element, whether we specified that until that specific condition is satisfied, it applicable for only one element in that page. Implicit wait is applicable for all the pages in that driver in that page.
Right. And what is fluent wait?
Fluent wait we can allow to, if one element is not find that element, we cannot find that element, we will call that intervals also, time intervals. We will specify some interval. Then after every 2 to 3 seconds, they will again go to that page and try to find that element is visible or that element is there or not in that web element. They will find. For that, we are using fluent wait.
Okay. What is the difference between string and string buffer?
String is immutable, sir. String buffer is immutable.
Okay. Any other difference apart from this? Okay. So string class is immutable, string buffer class is mutable. Then so this is one of the difference. Then come to the another difference. So think from the memory consumption performance point of view. So string buffer is fast, right? It consumes less memory, while string is actually slow and it consumes more memory, right? Then string class uses string constant pool, okay, while string buffer uses heap memory, right? Then you can also add one more difference, like string buffer class does not override the equals method of the object class, right? While string class overrides the equals method of the object class. Okay. Then which one is faster, which one is slower? So string class is slower while performing concatenation operation, while string buffer class is faster while performing concatenation operation. Okay, so this is how you can explain the difference between the two. Okay, now what is the difference between class variables and instance variables in Java?
Class variables can be, class variables are static. Instance variables we want to, sorry, sir.
Yeah, you are going in the right direction. Please proceed.
Instance variables we are using by instance, and we are initializing that variables. They are non-static.
Right. So you can say instance variables are declared in a class, but outside the method or constructor or any other block, right? While class variables, which are also known as static variables, those are declared with the static keyword in the class itself.
Yes.
Okay. So this is a basic difference that you can tell. Okay. Now, what is the difference between global and local variables in JavaScript?
Global and local variables. I have no idea, sir.
Okay, so a global variable is nothing but it has a global scope, right? Which means it can be defined anywhere in your JavaScript code. So, so think from that angle. The answer is hidden in the question itself. Global variables, right?
Yes.
Local variables means it is visible only within a function where it is defined, right? So function parameters that are always local to that function. So you can give this example: local and global variables.
Yes.
Okay, so this is fine. Okay. Now, let's say you have an application like Amazon, that is an e-commerce based application, right? And you want to buy a
Yes.
pen from them, from that website.
Yes.
So you have added that particular pen as an item 2 times to the cart using add to cart button. Okay.
Yes.
Now in the cart, when you navigate to the cart, only one entry for a pen is displayed, right? So what would be the severity and what would be the priority of this defect?
Severity and priority.
Yeah, priority would be
Priority would be high.
high. And what about severity?
Severity will be low.
Why low?
Yes, the severity will be also high.
Also
For that,
high.
it will affects the functions.
Definitely. Let's say you went to the Amazon website, right? And
Yes.
you wanted to purchase a pen. In the cart, you have selected 2 items, but it is displaying only one item into the
One
cart.
item.
So
Yes.
that's a bug, right? Okay.
Yes.
Now tell me if you have to develop an automation script. Okay. Now coming to this particular same scenario of this website, Amazon website, which is an e-commerce website, you have selected pen into the cart. Okay, you have selected
Yes.
2 pens into the cart. And now you need to verify via automation script whether when you navigate to the cart, whether those 2 items are displayed as it is or not. So how will you verify it using automation?
Driver.navigate to we are using, and that one and check once the item is there.
Yeah. So driver.navigate to that particular www.amazon.com, that would be one of the step in your automation code. How will you
Yes.
verify? How will you validate whether the 2 pens that you have added to the cart are displayed 2 only into the cart?
Yes.
Okay, no issues. So you can use assertions over there, right? You can
Yes.
create a variable of expected value of pen
Yeah,
or
yes,
expected
sir.
number of pen, and while navigating from via automation to that particular cart page, you can get the number of pens, count of number of
Yes.
pens added into the cart, and then both the things, actual value and expected value, you have to
Expected value.
multiply. So that kind
Yes.
of soft assertion you will use, right?
Yes.
Which is the other assertion apart from soft assertion?
Hard assertion will be there, sir.
Which one is better, hard assertion or soft assertion?
I think so. Hard assertion will be better.
Okay, why so?
Whether in soft, sir, whether in soft assertion, if the all the code will be executed, thereafter they will check all the builds are failed or passed. Then that build will, if the build is passed, then the total build is passed. Otherwise, it failed. But whereas in hard assertion, if one code is if any code is failed, if any step is failed, then it can't move to the next line of the program. It stopped there and
Don't you think you have mixed the definition? Whatever you told points for hard assertion were actually for soft assertion, right? Whatever points you were telling for soft assertion were actually for hard assertion, and soft assertion is better to go for because of the advantages. Okay, so that is the difference between soft assertion and hard assertion. Okay, so this question will be definitely asked in an interview, right? So please be prepared. Okay. How many test cases do you write every day? Yes, you are telling something.
Soft assertion is better to use. That's my answer.
Yes, soft assertion is better.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, how many test cases do you write every day?
Based on that functionality of that, we will write test cases. If the application is complex, then we will write 4 to 5 cases. Or it is then based on that we will write some.
Okay. Can you tell me something about the statement that you have mentioned in the CV, participating in the Git branch strategies? So which are the various strategies that you have participated while in the Git?
So, Git.
Yeah, it's mentioned in your CV that you have participated in various Git branch strategies. So what kind of strategies you have participated in? Okay. See, if you are mentioning anything in your CV, right? So definitely questions will come from that CV itself. If you have mentioned something, so you cannot stop interviewer because he will be going through the CV and he will be asking you the questions, right? So if you have the knowledge, you keep those things in the CV. If you don't have the knowledge, then you can remove those things in the CV. By the time you get knowledge, you upgrade your skills, then you can add those things. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, Kavita, I'm done with the interview. Do you have any questions for me?
So many questions, sir.
Yeah.
So much lag in that concept, sir. Whatever to think about this.
So
in which areas I want to prepare more?
Yeah. So first of all, you have to prepare from the automation perspective, right?
Yes.
So whatever preparation you do, right, do it thoroughly and make sure that whatever is written in your CV, you should be having a good knowledge of that, right? Second thing is you have to prepare on the scripting as well. Scripting, or let's say when real-time scenarios are coming, like I was asking you, how will you verify whether 2 is written on that page or not in the
Yes.
So those all things you have to prepare. Okay.
Yes.
Give 2 hours every day in preparation, 1 hour for applying jobs, and then rest of the things you can continue working in a company, right?
Yes.
So this is how you have to prepare. Okay.
Thank you so much, sir.